If you enjoy listening to adventure stories, then you should visit thedihedral.com. You will find stories from other members of the community and read about climbing, life, and the outdoors. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Let's connect and climb on!
Climb on! Roll!
And welcome back to our podcast of climbing versus culture. I'm doing the introduction today. I'm Caitlin.
I'm Morgan.
I'm Payson.
And I'm Gaia.
And I'm taking over. I'm just kidding. I'm not taking over. But today, on our last episode in this little mini series of climbing versus culture, did I say that already? Yes.
Yeah,
well, we're going to be talking about getting into climbing. Yeah.
Thank you, Caitlin. So we're gonna be talking about everything that you need to know if you're gonna get into climbing and all the things that you have to keep in mind during that transition or that process. And we thought that we could start from the beginning for our last episode. We are gonna start with probably what we should have started with episode number 1.
Yeah, but where's the fun in going in, actual logical order?
No fun at all.
None. Wouldn't be the dihedral if we did.
Since Kate was the one who came up with the idea, she's gonna give us a little summary of everything we need to know.
Well, this idea came up over dim sum with Morgan today.
An hour ago.
So Morgan, take it away.
Okay, well, I'm relatively new to climbing. I got into it a year ago.
Aw, happy 1-year climbivversary.
Oh, happy 1 year.
Thanks. And when I first started, there's so much jargon associated with climbing. I was so lost in the sauce for the first couple months because I started climbing with my buddy Joe, who was also brand new. We both had the same experience, which was we both climbed like once years before. So it was all really new to us. And yeah, there's so much vocabulary associated with the sport that I had no idea. I'm like, what the heck is beta? And then looking back, beta is so important.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the words that people use the most. It's kind of overused. Payson, can you describe what beta is?
Beta is I guess all the moves that you need to do in the correct order in order to finish the route. But it kind of looks different for everybody. So there's tall people beta, short people beta, people that can get off the ground beta, people that can't jump to save their life beta. There's all different kinds. And it's very important, but it's kind of like a douchey term at the same time. So if you have someone in the climbing gym that's a first-time climber and you as a climber are trying to help them out and give them tips and you say, hey, you want some beta? That person's going to look at you and have no idea what you're talking about. And then you look like a total doucher. So
yeah. So be careful.
Is that what kids are saying nowadays? Doucher,
douche canoe. My personal favorite.
I like it a lot.
Is that what happened to you, Morgan? Someone approached you and said, "Do you want some beta?" And you were like, "A what? A fish? A beta fish?"
I don't think that particularly happened for me. What it was a lot of listening. I would see other people climbing routes, groups of people and friends and what have you, and they were just talking this whole other language. So what I did a lot once I got into it was watch a bunch of Instagram videos on climbing, all kinds of beginner videos, and kind of learned that way just to get a basic grasp on what the heck people were saying. And that was really helpful. And then once I started making friends with people who knew what they were doing, I wasn't afraid to ask questions, because here in Tucson, the climbing community is really, really awesome. People are really willing to share all kinds of knowledge and terms, all kinds of different things. So that was really helpful. But I didn't ever have people come up to me. Well, actually, I guess I made friends through that process. I was like, what does that mean? Because they'd say something, but I've had no negative experiences, luckily.
With a
when-
doucher.
No douche canoes.
Douche canoe. Hey, you work as a manager for a climbing gym over there. Okay, so let's pretend that we are new. We open the door, we come in, and then you have to give us a tour. Like, how would you introduce?
Welcome to where I work. Have you guys been here before? Oh no. Well, let's get a waiver. Are you 18 or older? No. Is this your legal guardian? No. Okay. Well, we need a parent to fill out your waiver.
Okay, so the first thing that you have to do is sign a waiver.
You have
Like,
to
if you're going
sign
for a
always.
gym, yeah.
It protects. I was gonna say you and the gym, but it protects the gym.
If
does
you
not
fall, you
protect
fell,
you.
man.
You fall, man.
Make sure to have some health insurance. Just in
Yeah.
case.
And then fun fact, you can do a waiver at one facility. It's going to look pretty similar if you go to another facility. You still have to do another waiver. We don't transfer them amongst each other. That's just not how it works. I've had that
We
conversation.
also don't sell your information from the waiver. We
Yeah.
don't do that, but people will be like, well, where's this information going? Why do you need my address? What about this? And you're like, I don't know, man. I just work here. You want to climb or not?
We need well, okay, so here we go. Oh, good. Well, yes, we need it just for the waiver, but we need it in the event that there is a billing issue. We need it in the event you do get hurt. So we have a way to mail if something were to happen, you get injured, it does end up being our fault. We need a way to be able to like mail you insurance documents, or if it gets down to like a litigation process, being able to get in contact with you for that via lawyers and stuff like that. And so all of that, like, we're not going to come stalk you. No one can get into this database. Half the time, we can't even get into the database because they're doing like random updates and everything. This database is called Rock Gym Pro, RGP. And so, yeah, we don't sell your information. The most we'll do is put you on an email list if you opt into it. And that's it.
You know what I did do? Maybe this is completely illegal, but it's fine because we're dating now.
I was like,
Is it?
Any time that there was
That's so funny.
in my time at the gym, anybody that I was interested in, I would always check their waiver and I would Google their house.
I didn't do
So that's the real purpose of the waiver, people. No, I'm just
I
joking,
knew
I'm just joking.
where Brian lived. Like the first time that I ever went over to his house, I was like, hey, what's your address? But really I was like, I've already mapped it 50
No, but you know
times.
what? That's a legitimate thing. I mean, I don't know if I don't think everyone does it, but I know that it was the case with Carrot too. He's always kind of like mysterious with his age. So a worker
Yeah.
from there went on the system and was like, oh, so this is how old this person is. Like, that's
Yes.
how it was that they felt compelled to like look at the information.
There's these two people that climb at the gym and they look really, really, really similar. And so I've always wondered if they were siblings or a couple. And like, just, I couldn't tell with their mannerisms. And so I made the staff pull up their waivers so that I could see the last names and try and figure it out.
And
If
what
they
was
were.
it?
They are in fact married, but honestly, it really looks like something illegal is going on. They really shouldn't be. They seriously
They're
favor.
siblings, not married.
Yeah, they're married, but they really could be siblings. Like nobody would, if they were like, this is my brother, nobody would be like, no, it's not.
Oh, really? That's wild.
As a current gym employee and someone that just took a essentially 8-hour of their like 24-hour course about professionalism, I'm not going to comment on this subject.
Don't comment on it, girl. Let's continue our tour. So we signed our waiver. Where do we go now?
In Morgan's ear, I was like, "We're not. I'm not. No, don't say what I think you're going to."
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
Shut your mouth. But yeah, so you have to do a waiver, and then I don't care if you learned when you were 7 how to belay in the Boy Scouts. I do not care if you learned in your time working in the service. you got to go through the belay orientation because there are industry standards and safety regulations that you have to know, and you're not going to get that full picture if you don't go through it. Your Boy Scout method of belaying, it's probably not good. Your slip, slop, slide version and how they teach you to break in the armed forces. Armed forces. It's not good. It's not for this setting. It works in the setting you learned it in, but not in this one. So you do have to go through that orientation. And I get it. Orientations are long. They're annoying. You just want to climb. But it's like, as an instructor, just give me, at least for like where I work, the 45 minutes I need to show you everything in the facility. And the more attention you give me and the more you stay on focus, the sooner I'll get you done, because trust me, I just want you to get started climbing. I don't want to keep talking at you and instructing you. Like, I just want you to go. I want you to just climb, and I want to go talk to my members or just watch you climb, essentially. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick. No instructor is trying to like hold you back. We're literally just trying to make sure you don't break somebody's legs. Like, like it's a long process for a reason. I think people don't realize, especially their first visit, the inherent risk that comes with climbing, because you see people and they make it look so easy, but it is so easy to do the wrong thing. And we're just trying to keep you safe. So when you ask how long is the orientation and I say it takes 45 minutes, it's not because I'm over here asking you your favorite color and I'm trying to like keep you off the wall. Like, I just don't want you to die. I don't want to have to call 911 because you fell and broke your leg. Like, I'm just trying to make sure we all have a pleasant experience.
Safety first.
Yes, I echo that. That's very important what Morgan said, safety first. And like, I think people need to take that into consideration when they do these things. But you're right, maybe because it's your first time, or like you're saying, people make it look so easy, you don't realize it. Have you had an instance of someone being straight up rude while you were doing an orientation? How was it? Oh, Payson is also nodding. Okay.
It happens like quite regularly, where you can just tell people are disengaged, and it depends on what they're doing. And you can, if you've done like enough orientations, like you can alter it to where maybe you don't take them through the full one, but that means you don't get full access to the facility. I can make my lesson as short as 5-10 minutes if you only want to be able to do one thing. If you want to do everything, it's longer. So it's up to you. And if you don't want to listen to me talk for 45 minutes, I get it. I don't like listening to myself talk for 45 minutes. So like, we can alter as need be, but you don't have to be a dick about it. Like, I'm just like, we're all just here. I'm just doing my job. I'm just trying to make money so I can feed myself, feed my dog, buy my partner presents for Christmas, and pay rent. Like, come on now. Like, if you're going to be a dick about it, I'm not going to let you climb, and I'm going to tell you to leave. Like, I'm not
the ex-Boy Scouts that are the worst. It's the Boy Scout dads that come in and they always bring their old ass gear that's like not on any kind of standard anymore, that doesn't even fucking exist anymore. And they're like, what do you mean that this won't work? And you're like, well, sir, it's actually broken. But besides the fact it's old as fuck, like, no, it doesn't work. And then you'll be giving an orientation and they'll interject and be like, oh yeah. And then you're like, 1 second, questions at the end. Thank you. Or people will just be like, okay. And they just try and kind of cut you off when you're talking. But that's my favorite. I love when they do that, because I like to get like really charismatic and smiley and be like, and so, yeah, and this is how you do this. And this is how you do this. Okay, great. And just like irritate the shit out of them.
You get annoying on purpose.
Yeah, 100%.
I love that.
It works.
Gosh,
Or when they're like, I already know how to do it. And I'm like, the other day somebody did that to me, and I was like, oh, if you already know how to do it, like, you know, I would love to have you help me do this. You know, I've given so many orientations. So how about you peer teach for me? Like, why don't you just like, you
said that?
Figure 8 knot, you know, if you are so proficient and so comfortable in this, and I am just doing a bad job, as you've like verbalized to me, and then like put them essentially in like my shoes, and then they're trying to instruct, and I'm like, not so easy to teach 6 different people one thing when this person learns verbally, that person learns through visual cues, and that person learns by doing. Is it? It's not the easiest. it is a little skillful. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. So you made the person actually like
Yeah, I definitely
take over
Yeah, you teach. Like, I would love a break.
and it sucked.
I can give up to 10 orientations in a day, like by all means, you talk, you do it. I'll save myself for the next group that wants to learn from somebody that has certifications and knowledge. Like, yeah, go for it.
And after you, oh, wait, you mentioned certifications right now. Okay. So it's important for people to know exactly. So you go, first thing, you sign your waiver, then you go through the orientation. But these are people that ideally are certified. So Kate just mentioned that she's done all her studies and certifications, etc. So what certifications do you need to get to be able to be or have like the ethos to give these orientations?
None.
Yeah, but you, for example, like in your case.
I got hired on at like 14 to do birthday
Okay.
parties. Like,
So
yeah.
she said none. I was gonna try like give people peace of mind.
Okay, so
But
you do go through training. Like, I remember at Inspire, not everybody was allowed to give top rope orientations. Like, I remember that very clearly. And you had to have been there for a certain amount of time, gone through a different training than your normal floor training to do it. At the gym I work at now, we require everybody to be able to teach top rope lessons and be able to teach how to belay because it's just a different gym. But not the orientation process, but like the onboarding and training at the gym I'm at now takes a full month to do versus at Inspire, I think I was fully trained for everything I needed in like a week and a half. So it's like, you can get taught how to do it. You are given like experience on the job. So people do know what they're doing prior to that, but you can get certifications. The issue with certifications is they're just stupid expensive. So like, I was fortunate enough to have my gym pay for my certifications, which was awesome because otherwise I wouldn't have gotten them on my own because my first one was $500. And
oh wow.
as somebody like fresh out of college, I don't have that kind of money.
Yeah.
To just go. But it is nice having those certifications and just like that extra knowledge. And then it's cool because I just came back from getting my last certification, my newest one.
Last night.
Yeah, I came back last night from it. And
You sound like a Pokemon trainer. Like, I just came back and have my newest certification. I just imagine you like open the jacket with like those pins.
I do have business cards. But no, yeah, like I have a certification now that I can certify other people to be CWA climbing wall instructors. I'm now a level 4 provider.
Oh, we're looking at Kate's shift manager, assistant team coach, lead, and Bella lead instructor.
This is
What?
all pretty much changed already, but
No, there's more.
Yeah,
Emerald League or whatever.
that's what it feels like. But yeah, you can have staff that are certified. Like one of our floor staff is like a certified outdoor guide, AMGA double, like multi-pitch, single pitch guide, has like a level 2 route setting certification, like has a ton of knowledge.
Wait, hold it. You're just spewing a bunch of jargon. What we talk. So explain, and this is perfect. What's multi-pitch? What's this?
Okay,
break it down, girl.
Multi-pitch is something you encounter for outdoor climbing. And it's where, so if you were to think of your indoor setting, you get to the top, you get lowered, and that's a pitch. So the difference with multi-pitch is when you get to the top, you set up a system and you then bring the person on the bottom up to the top with you. And then you go up like another pitch. So maybe another 30 feet before you get to the next station where you bring the next person up. So it's kind of like, it's like the equivalent of going up flights of stairs, but you're climbing up the side of a mountain instead.
yeah, so it's routes stacked upon each other ultimately.
Yeah.
Was
it's
our
like-
first multi-pitch together, or was it my first and not your first?
It was our first multi-pitch. We did that together. I
How
remember.
romantic.
Aw.
Love that for us.
Aw. You're connected forever.
We are in lots of ways.
So many.
If you don't know, you can listen to our episode number 2 Time versus culture, where they tell their stories of the dynamic when they used to work together and all the things that went down. Okay, let's proceed. Wink, wink.
So
It was
what other things were you spewing?
AMGA.
I don't even know what that is.
Isn't that the American Mountain Guide Association?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm glad I was able to rattle that one off. I was a little nervous for a second. I was like, oh, crap.
give me your Emerald League wherever gym badge back.
Mine's through the CWA, not AMGA, which is the Climbing Wall Association. So it's different.
Okay, so what's that one?
So the Climbing Wall Association basically sets the industry trends for climbing gyms across not even just the US. I don't know if it's just restricted to North America or like higher, but I know it's at least North America. Could be more. Could be just North America.
We're not really sure.
But she has it.
CWApro.org.
There are so many certifications. It seems like you can do for outdoor, for what else more, in knots and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah, so I feel like the main categories are you can get indoor certifications and outdoor certifications. So like my certification covers me only indoors. Does it help with outdoors? Yes, but does it apply for outdoors? No, and it won't cover me in outdoor situations. So like I couldn't legally go guide somebody out on a mountain outside because I don't have the certifications for that. But somebody that's doing an outdoor certification, they could, depending on theirs, guide people and be totally covered legally in that sense. But it doesn't mean it's going to carry in the same weight for indoor setting, because it's essentially two different worlds, indoor climbing and outdoor climbing.
Right.
So will they apply and do they help in either situations? Yes, because knowledge in climbing is knowledge that goes across both indoor, outdoor, bouldering, top rope, lead, auto blaze, whatever the case may be, but it is still very separate at the same time.
Okay, you just spewed other things. Lead, auto belay. Okay, let's rewind. You come in the gym, you sign a waiver, you get an orientation, and then basically you're just free to go and climb. Of course, there's gonna be like floor managers and people looking at what you're doing, and they're gonna approach you and say like, oh, you should try to do it this way or not. If you need someone for a catch, so someone to belay you so you can climb, etc., you can ask probably a floor manager or someone there. They'll assist you. And then you're gonna find people lead climbing, people doing auto belays, and all these different things. So I don't know, who wants to explain what that is? Everyone's looking at Caitlin.
So
Okay.
I break it down into bouldering and auto blaze. You'll do if you're solo. You can do them with people, but they're very common activities for first timers that come in by themselves. And then I can guarantee you, unless you have prior climbing experience, you will not be leading on your first day in the facility. It's a more advanced skill set, and a prerequisite for lead climbing is that you know how to top rope belay. So top rope, you need two people. That's when someone pulls the rope through a braking device of some kind. There's lots of different kind depending on what gym you're at, as the climber goes up and then lowers them and controls the speed that they come down. So you need two people to do it. Auto belays, they're clip and goes. You just clip it into your harness, the machine winds up the slack, and then as soon as you let go or put weight on it, it brings you back down towards the ground. And then bouldering is essentially free climbing, no harness, no rope, but it's on different padding and shorter walls.
And lead climbing,
the types synopsis. Lead climbing is where both parties start with the rope on the ground, and the person climbing takes the rope up with them as they go, and they're clipping it into what are called quick draws, which is hanging on the wall from a bolt, and it has a clip on the end that you put the rope through to secure yourself to it. So it's almost like checkpoints. But within lead climbing, it's a different way of feeding rope for your climber, taking rope back if there's too much. And then there are things like differences that come into play. Fall factors are a risk because you can get pulled up when your climber falls, stuff like that.
Especially if there's a weight difference between the two people.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen people, super petite people, belaying or elite belaying like bigger climbers, and they like attach a bag to their harness,
Yeah.
so to counter.
Yeah, you put
The
like a
weight difference.
sandbag on to add weight, but I don't like that method because as somebody that has had to have a sandbag attached to them, lead belaying, because I had such a big weight difference between my climber and myself. When your climber falls, it's like you get pulled up into the air, because if you're the lighter of the two and you're belaying, so you're like feeding the rope, like you're going up, you're going for a nice little ride. And with a sandbag attached to you, instead of it being just like a nice smooth ride, you just come to a halt. Like it's kind of like your ribs get slammed into like a brick wall. So it's like the most comfortable thing. And so it's not the best, but it's also a safety aspect. But we can get into a whole different topic of like,
Right.
who should you be belaying? Who should you not? When is it okay? How do you build a comfort for having those weight differences without a sandbag? And just like general difference between like risk tolerance or like what your risk appetite might be. So.
And like, okay, you're in the gym, you're settled, and then you start hearing all these people say all these strange things you've never heard before. Can you, maybe between Morgan and Payson?
Yeah,
Because Payson, yeah, let's give Kate a break. And I know that Payson has younger siblings who are currently working at a gym, so probably you're more exposed to this new jargon, and you're actively climbing too. And then Morgan, you said that you recently started climbing as well, so you started like, well, recently, but you know what I mean. Like being exposed to these things, and maybe it's fresher in your memory. What words were strange to you? Like, let's elaborate, or let's make a list of top important words. Oh, see, Morgan already has it that you need to know, and they're like the strangest sounding one. Beta, we already covered. Catch, I kind of mentioned it, but we can go through it again.
Well, one of them that was important once I understood what it was static versus dynamic climbing. Static, ultimately, you're trying to not make big moves to your next hold, and you do it statically. I don't really know how else to describe it, but I guess the opposite would be dynamic, which is where you kind of like throw yourself to grab another hold. You like cut feet, and which is also another term, which is still relatively cutting feet. Your feet come off the wall, right? That's what that is. Yeah. Woo.
Yay.
Yeah. Whereas dynamic movement, you're kind of like throwing yourself around on the wall a little bit more freely. Huh?
Flowy.
Flowy?
Yeah. So dynamic is like the long, pretty graceful movement, the one you see like a lot of pro climbers do. Like experienced climbers, you'll see a lot more like dynamically moving usually, because it comes also with like comfort on the wall. And when you first start, you usually climb more static, or if you're doing like a really strong move, it's more static. Those are the ones where it's like you go, you stop, you go, you stop, versus like dynamic is like one long smooth.
Is that typical? I think we've all heard this phrase because it's like so cliche, I guess, but it's so often used, like, oh, that person looks like they're dancing on the wall and stuff like that. It never fails.
I've never heard that used.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you heard it now, or at least back in my days, and when I was climbing, all the time I was like, oh my gosh, look at that climber, looks like they're dancing on the wall. And I probably might have said it once or twice too, but it was like I start noticing that it was a very like common use when you have like this experienced climbers that they just flow. Yeah.
Oh, some other well, on top of like dynamic movements comes dynos. That was really cool too. Like you're literally throwing your body to the next hold, taking your whole body pretty much off the wall to grab a hold. I like doing that. I've liked doing that since the beginning. I guess I didn't have much fear when I started, but I have definitely more fear now, knowing what I know, than when I did when I started. Which also, you kind of mentioned that earlier. You don't know the risk until like you're in it.
You know what? Now that you mentioned that, I think like the more you're in it, you just have to constantly and consistently climb, because if you take a long hiatus, like a long break, you start realizing everything that comes with it, and you get a lot in your brain, and maybe your approach to climbing would be different. Because when I started, same, I was super fearless and all these things, and I consistently climbed and had progress all like throughout the time that I was an active climber. And I never, not never, like you start learning, of course, and you're considering things, but because you're actively doing it, you feel more comfortable.
You're gaining.
But now, yeah, and gain more confidence in your abilities and everything, and in the surroundings, the community, etc. I've taken a long break, and now I feel like the moment that I go back to climb actively, like if I want to actively climb like I did before, I would be very apprehensive. I am apprehensive, actually. Carrot sometimes like, let's go climbing, catch me here, and I'm like, read belaying. No, dude. Are you sure you want me to do that? You
Do
know,
it in a way that's fun for you. Because if it's too stressful and it's not fun, then what's the point? You know.
I will say, of all people, fucking Carrot. That's my sentence. I have seen that man take some of the most terrifying falls that like have
Oh my
startled me, that make me not want to do moves. And he is unfazed. Granted, I'm not in his mind. I don't know if he's like mentally dealing with that, or if he is really just what I like to think, where he's just unfazed and just does not have that fear receptor that would put in most of us. But like, that man blows my mind.
wait, remember that one time that you all went climbing outdoors? They
And
all
he
went climbing
flipped
outdoors.
upside down, and
He
he
flipped
hit
up. Yes, and then I just get a phone call. I don't remember if it was him or it was you. Someone called me at this point. I don't know, because you know those moments where like everything freezes and it's the longest time ever. It probably took 1 second. Was like, don't worry, everything's okay. You already know that when a conversation starts like that.
Me.
Yeah, nothing's okay. It probably was you. Carrot just fell and he hit his head and he was bleeding, but he's okay? And I'm like, what?
That was me. Sounds like I remember because I was lead belaying him, and he just like his foot wasn't behind the rope, which can cause you to flip over. It was just like this freak thing, flipped over. We were outside, didn't have a helmet on, which we don't have to get into that. And then he hit his head, and he didn't like crack anything. Like it wasn't anything major. Like it wasn't a super bad cut from what I saw and everything. It was just like the top of his head, like just hit it, cut it. It was bleeding. But yeah, I remember making that call because that's how I feel like it was me, at least, because that's how I start every call when I'm like have something bad to say. So I'm like, okay, so don't freak out. Like everything's fine.
Yeah, I have a feeling that probably was you.
Are you holding any hot beverages? Anything that can break?
Oh my. So yeah, well, now you know, if you're gonna go climb outdoors, wear a helmet. And that's why we wear a helmet, as our friend Timmy would say. That's another episode that you can look for it, the Dihedral podcast. That's why we wear a helmet, Gavin and Timmy. Okay, let's continue.
Shameless plug.
Two other things that I guess we should maybe cover is like hold types and wall types.
Drugs.
Yum.
You want to demo pockets?
There are some holds that look
like boobs
or vaginas. There are holds that are
There's so many
like a
vagina
vulva.
holes
Yeah.
flapping in the wind.
All of them.
But
With
wall types,
strategically placed bolt holds. It's very interesting.
Buttholes?
Holes.
Well,
But you're not wrong. I mean, sometimes.
little purse doggy butthole.
oh no.
Yeah, there's all the different kinds of holds. Like you've got your jugs and your slopers and your crimps and your pinches, and people are just like, what are you talking about? And then you have your different wall types, your dihedral, your arete. People, what else? Your slab. And then people will say stuff like, just kind of like heel hook it and just like stick your toe jam, and like you just really gotta like slap the jug and stay low, and that's how people get overwhelmed.
mantle.
Gaston.
to this crazy knee bar,
Yes.
and then you're gonna bicycle your hold. And you're like,
Oh
I
my
thought we're
God.
climbing. Why are we
Okay.
talking about bicycles? Like,
Let's do something. Say a sentence filled with slang and then someone needs to translate it. Because that's what you normally hear. You're just climbing and then you overhear someone say both things that you both said. That's legitimate. So
would-
how will you translate it?
Straight
I have
up
a good
jargon.
sentence that I think might even throw a couple people in here.
Let's go.
All right. So you're gonna set your base, and when you do it, you're gonna lead with your toes. You're gonna dyno up doing this sick double clutch. When you do your double clutch and you catch your hold, you're then gonna go into this knee bar before you go and do an inward back flag. Actually, you can't do an inward back flag. You can do an inward flag. And in that inward flag, you're then going to do a back step and bicycle your hold before you match the finish hold.
That was a paragraph.
Yes. I'm like, I love.
Let's start with that.
Double
Set your
clutch.
base. You
I
gotta
don't know.
set your base is what? Just get your feet right.
You gotta, so I call it your triangle, because like, if you think about
Yeah.
it, as I explained to my little babies that I coach, your legs are the engine and your arms are the steering wheel. So you can't go anywhere without your engine. So setting your base is getting your feet nice and squared up to the wall so that you have a good support for your center of gravity, which is like in your abdomen.
Mhm.
So you want to think of your base as a triangle where like the point in the middle is like your core, and then the two sides that come off are going to be your feet. So you got to set your base. So you got to get your balance right. You got to make sure you're in good position. Then you dyno. So all 4 points of contact come off the wall. To your double clutch is when both hands come off, both hands catch separate holds. Or they can catch the same hold, but it's cooler if you catch two separate holds. Let's call it as it is. And then inward flag is where you just dangle your foot engaged in the inside of your wall. So it goes wall, leg,
Mhm.
leg. But the leg not on the wall on a hold is on the inside. So it's the middle.
Flagging is hard to, I think, describe
It
when
is.
you can't see it.
It's like helps you maintain balance. It's like
Yeah.
where you stick one leg out for balance.
There you
There we
go. You bicycle.
You have the grad student here. Making things
Occupational
easy.
therapy. Thank you.
So bicycling.
That's when you have like a hold and you have a foot on the front of the hold and a foot behind the hold. So you're like holding tension with your feet. So it's usually
Okay.
with the toes.
So like the top of the hold, like let's say it's a jug of sorts. Foot's on the top where your hand would go if you were lower, and then your foot kind of is underneath, and then there's pressure between the this what you-
Mhm. So it's
yeah.
like wrapping the hold with your feet, basically.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
want to say like a good way to think about it, if you've never done it, is if you had, we'll call it like we'll say like a softball in between your toes, and you're trying to crush it. Like
Okay.
that's like you're pulling really hard, trying to like smush it down to make it flat. Like that's where that pressure is coming from, that tension. And then matching a hold is just both hands on it, and that's what you do traditionally to finish a route.
Okay. That was beautiful. That was very complicated. Someone says that to me and I'll be like,
Oh wait,
Hmm?
mantling and Gaston. Elaborate that. Or whatever you said, Gaston.
Gaston's when you pull from the side of a hold to go up. Mantle's when you go push down
okay.
to go
Oh, I
up.
had her mantle, not Gaston. Gaston? Like the
Gaston's like
dude
where
from-
you pull opposite ways, like on a hold to get it's like opposite pressure. I don't know. It's fucking hard.
Gaston,
No, slick as Gaston. Na, na, na,
like
na,
you're
na, na.
pulling left and right. Mantles are you're pushing yourself up.
Yeah. I know that one.
Pushing down to get yourself up.
Well, yeah, pushing down
Yeah.
to get yourself up.
But if you're new to climbing,
Don't
all
worry.
you really need to know is stay on your toes and like keep your toes on, and jugs are your best friends, and jugs are the holds that are really, really easy to grab. Or amongst other things. Do you guys know I have a shirt? Oh my God, it's so bad. I have a shirt and it has, I'll give you a demonstration. It has two jugs on the boobs of the shirt, and the top of it says jugs, and it gives a definition, and it says large, easy grip, and hand friendly. Best thing you've ever heard.
I want one. Where'd you get it?
Got it online.
Okay, sick.
I mean, I've seen some that have like jugs on them, like where the boobs are, and underneath it says like nice jugs.
That's Caitlin's favorite hold.
Yeah.
She
We
keeps
all love jugs.
Save the
It's like
jugs.
jugs, and I'm like, anyway.
Anyway, maybe we can share the links of those shirts.
Yeah, I gotta find it. It was
I
just
never
like-
fun.
mine. I just saw other people have it and I wanted it. So if you find that shirt online, drop it in my DMs.
Yep, at Kate Junick, right? That's your.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wait, because you changed it recently.
No.
Your Instagram one?
Yeah, it's been my Instagram like since I had Instagram. Well, at
Did
one
you
point it was Caitlin Junick. Oh, I changed my Twitter handle from my name to Anti-Sloper Princess.
Morgan,
Wait, that's your new
what?
name? That sounds like an OnlyFans profile name.
It is not my OnlyFans. I do not have one. It is my Twitter handle.
Oh, it's not working. Oh, okay. Well, all right. It's because it's there. That's what it looks
Oh,
like.
wow, that's so pretty.
But guess what, guys? Guess what? It's only $19. It's 25% off.
Oh,
Hey.
What?
holidays.
Saving you money.
We should all get one.
It's a good time. It is a good time. It gives you a lot of attention from old white men, which I don't really know if that's what you're going for.
Oh,
It's never what I'm
that's
going
true.
for, but
Yeah.
I wore
Ah.
it one time climbing, and everyone just like they like look at you and then they snicker, or they'll be like, "Oh, nice shirt," and you're like, "All right, we can all read. Thank you. We don't need to comment on it. It's for me. It's not for you."
We also have
Good
a
for
shirt
you.
that says
Yeah.
bouldering is dumb. And I wore that bouldering once.
I love the bouldering is dumb shirt. I had one and it got disappeared in my dryer. Like something sucked it up.
It's
I don't
probably
know.
I made the dryers a boulder. Didn't like.
Yeah, right. The
I
dryer's
did
like,
not agree.
Sterling Rope sells it.
yeah, it's a classic. Oh, it's so good.
Why is it though that it became a thing now? Like, it's a phrase. Bouldering is dumb. Why?
Bouldering is
Because
dumb.
it's so hard. I think it's because it's so hard that people are like, oh fuck it, it's dumb. Like I'm not doing it anyways.
Yeah, it is
And even
tough,
like
man.
boulders will say it's dumb because they know that it's hard and dangerous, but they're all like hooked on it. Little freaks.
I'm kind of one of those. I kind of always warm up bouldering because like I feel like you have to use so much more strength and it's less well, it's strength and endurance, but for much shorter of a time versus top rope. Whereas I don't know. I really like bouldering. I don't know what it is.
Bouldering is like sprinting and top rope is like long distance running.
Yeah, I feel like you have to have stamina too there. I don't know, like to. But the thing with bouldering though is that I think that when you finish one, like you said it and stuff, the accomplishment that you feel. I think that rush, because it's so like immediate. It's not immediate gratification because it takes a while to get there, but it's that rush. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa, I need to like.
Top rope can be sometimes, depending on how tall your walls are too.
Think maybe we could have a debate on this. No, I'm just joking. I honestly, I don't know. I think both are fun, but bouldering, it's tough, man. It drains you pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Great.
Because it's
workout, though.
the times that I've been climbing with Carrot recently, which again, I'm not actively climbing as much anymore. So it's like every now and then I tend to like gravitate toward the bouldering section, and I just try 5 times and then I'm like, okay, I'm done for the day. I'm pooped. I'm like, I can't believe I drove all the way here to do this 5 times and then I can't do anything else.
I get that.
Bouldering's like one of those things that the second I'm done, I'm like, fuck this. I need a beer. Like that's it.
Yes. Yeah. Everything hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we covered. It's hard to cover everything, to be honest.
Much,
Yeah.
but we covered a lot.
Yeah, we cover the basics.
Do it. Like
You learn by doing. That's how I did. And
Yeah.
that was helpful.
I mean, yeah, your partner is like, she's certified. She has certification,
certified instructor.
all those badges. So she's legit, which helps too. What else? I don't know. I think we covered everything.
I feel like
We
I
never
haven't.
mentioned trad, but that's like
Oh
not
shit,
beginners.
you're right.
Don't get into trad. Oh no.
it's a type of lead, right?
Everybody wants a trad daddy.
Oh, maybe
Why?
now we have to get into it. Trad Daddy, it's such a classic.
What's a trad daddy? I don't know what is
The
that?
person that teaches you how to climb trad.
Yeah,
And that already knows what they're doing. They have a full rack on
they
them.
have the gear. Yeah.
It's what they call it. It's funny, but it's true.
It's when you place gear up a crack system on a
Mhm.
wall. So it takes lead climbing and then gear placement. But man, is it sketchy, and the people that do it have
It's
big
the
balls.
quickest way to fucking die.
Yeah.
But a trad daddy, honestly, everyone needs a trad daddy. A trad daddy is a glorified babysitter with like much higher stakes.
That's pretty accurate.
We all love a trad dad.
I don't know.
They're
any-
kind of douchey, but they're all right.
I mean, I know that for both of us. So
Perfect. Covered.
I'm your trad dad.
I am not your trad dad. I'd be like, I think you put this in the crack here. I don't know. Fucking just try it. Don't fall. Like, don't fall.
I know. Just stick to auto release and
Just learn the
top
basics
rope.
first.
Yeah.
You'll learn the other stuff eventually.
I would say like ask questions and befriend people that are nice. But I think I was saying earlier before we started recording, like I think like the dumbest thing you can do. Well, it's not dumb. It's like very sweet and like good intentions. But I think the dumbest thing you can do is like the second you climb is you buy every single piece of gear and all this ropes and you have everything like hanging off of your harness. You look like an idiot because you don't know how to top rope belay yet. So I just think like take it slow, ask questions, get shoes, a harness, and a chalk bag, and a belay device.
And then
You're
get
good.
strong.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's it. And then you can add on. But
And honestly, like also that's a good because you don't know if you're gonna stick with it. So now you
Yeah.
spent all this money on gear that's expensive and then you're not climbing anymore.
Yeah.
yeah,
And then
you're,
like,
like
what if
hanging
you
out
get-
with dirty hippies all the time.
I know, like, what if you get all the stuff to go outdoor lead climbing? You're like, ooh, I only really like bouldering.
Yeah.
But now you just got all the stuff that you're not going to use. And I mean, I'm sure you can sell it to somebody, but anyone I talk to, I'd be like, don't ever buy any piece of safety equipment used. I don't care how good a deal it is.
Yeah.
That's a death wish.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the other tip. I don't care if someone is selling their harness on Facebook Marketplace for $3 saying it's never been used, never been taken out of a bag, whatever the case
Not
may
for
be.
you.
Go buy a new harness, brand new from the store. Shoes, fair game. Do whatever you want. Chalk bag, same thing. Not safety equipment. Value your-
Also, I would say like, I don't know, I'm kind of a hypocrite, but I would say if you're climbing outside, at least wear a helmet while you're belaying. You know, we don't all wear them up the wall, but at least wear one while you're belaying. Do you
Yes.
remember? Oh my God, this is a funny story. Okay, when me and Kate were doing our multi-pitch climb, I guess we were both still in high school, and my parents are very protective, and they were not down with me going on this trip. And so Kate was like, "Oh, let me talk to your mom." And Kate, like, she can really turn it on. Like, she's like 99% absolute shithead. And then the second she's around like some kind of parental figure or authority figure, she instantly turns into like Miss Congeniality. And so she was like, okay, so here's what we're gonna tell your mom. Oh my God, no, I will take such good care of her. I'm gonna drive, don't worry about it. I also have 2 helmets, a first aid kit, blah, 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 blah. We get there, I'm like, where are the helmets? And she's like, oh, I don't have a helmet.
That sounds so real.
Like, bitch didn't even have a band-aid. And we just did it. And then I remember we posted pictures and everyone was like, all of our climbing friends
helmet.
were like, where are y'all's helmets? Like, y'all are multi-pitching, and me and Kate just have like messy buns and headbands and a big smile. Like,
I bet
Yeah.
she put super glue though. That's big in the climbing community.
super glue.
I
Did you?
love- glue.
I don't even know if we needed it. It was like,
At
it was
that
a
point,
very
I was
short-
definitely in my little shithead phase where I was like, let's just get away with anything. Fuck the consequences.
yeah, like a few weeks after that, we went skydiving. Like, we were just, what a dream.
I don't even know.
Shitheads. Total shitheads.
Yeah. What can I say?
Kate,
I
like,
got
also,
pitching.
she's like very, like, she tells you how prepared she is and will tell your parents how prepared she is. And I remember one time we were camping and she's quite the minimalist, if I do say so myself. And I remember we were sleeping and like, I think I had a sleeping pad that she let me use. And then in the middle of the night, I was so fucking cold. And I was like, Caitlin, I'm really cold. And she had literally like a hand towel. And she was like, here. Safety first.
Hey, but with that, let it just speak to a true characteristic of if you are friends with me, I will literally give you anything you need. Like, I got your back. I will get you where you need to go. I will convince who needs to be convinced. I will give you my little dry fit towel that I use to sleep with at night. I'm an adult now though. I have a sleeping bag. But like, you'll be taken well care of. You will be fed and you will have a plethora of stories by the end of it.
You were the epitome of fake it till you make it. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
that's
Still
it.
can't buy that one.
like she'll get you taken care of. You'll be fine. Nobody died.
Nobody died. And if anything, I like to think I was always pretty much the guinea pig of the group. I was like, if someone dies, it's gonna be Kate. Like, Kate's gonna do the stupid thing.
No, literally when we would go to Pace Bend, everyone would always be like, okay, let's check the water levels. Let's look and make sure there's nothing at the bottom. And Kate's like, only way you're gonna figure it out is if you jump in. And I would be like, well, goddamn, there she goes. And she just
I remember during our winter road trip, it was like that. Kate was always the first one. And I think it became a thing. Like, oh, I'm the guinea pig. Let's do it. Like, okay, Kate, let's just test it. And also, like, granted, you and Carrot were the most experienced climbers. So, like, it was going to be one of you.
Yeah.
Morgan, you should buy the fattest life insurance policy.
I already got life insurance. We're good.
Fun fact. Climbing is considered a high risk sport. So if I were to die climbing, it's not covered in life insurance policies.
Really?
Fun fact.
Well, that's how it is in France,
Mm.
right? Because you were trying to climb over there when you were in college and you couldn't because you didn't have the right insurance. You had
Yeah,
to-
my overseas student insurance wouldn't cover it, but I
You
did
still
it,
did it. It's like, that's not going to stop me.
right?
Oh,
Well, let's just say when I go camping, I bring everything we need. So
yeah, you're the prepared one.
I got the big first aid kit.
Good.
I think I actually did have a first aid kit in the back of my car. I had it for a really long time, but it was like
Crusty.
bare minimum. Like, there wasn't
Yeah.
Band-Aids in it, but there was like, I think there's like a suture kit and then like some gauze and like just random like butterfly strips, like things that like,
Maybe some
In-
Tums.
yeah, like
Yeah.
probably Tums. Like, I don't remember exactly what was in it, but whatever was in it, like, it was nothing that could be used all together for like an important, like if you had a major cut, like I could get you like one thing, but like not everything you need. Needed like stitches. Like I had one thing, but like nothing,
I got gauze and comedic relief. Anything else?
right?
I'll make you laugh until we get to the hospital.
I
You're good.
almost always had some gauze and at least a joint on me. So like you would have had
Yeah.
a good time regardless.
Oh my God. The first time, oh my,
Is this just turning into the stupid shit Kate's done hour?
yeah, maybe the first time. This is what you need to know about if you're gonna get into the climbing community. As somebody that has never participated in recreational drug use, you will learn that you can make a bong or a pipe out of most fruits.
I remember Lauren.
Really? I didn't know that.
We
Carrots
made one.
were-
Apple pipe, Caitlin.
The
Apple
apple
pie?
pie was so good. Me and Lauren engineered like made that together. Because she was like, oh, I don't remember how it's supposed to go. And I was like, well, I don't know how to make it, but I know we need this, this, and this, and this in it. And she's like, oh, done, like whittled it out. And I was like, fuck yeah.
I was like 16 sitting in a hammock, like, oh, no, thank you.
Jason came to the gym so sweet, naive, young. And I was like, I'll take you under my wing.
Corruption.
Corruption. Lying to your parents. Cursing.
So if you're getting into climbing, find a good friend that'll push you to do stupid shit and ask questions and have a first aid kit that has at least a Band-Aid and wear a helmet if you go outside. That's all you need to know. That's
Also have
Yep.
fun.
have fun.
Like that's kind of the whole point of it. Unless you're stupid competitive, then that's just a whole other.
Side note, I want a preference. I never made Payson do anything.
Caitlin feels the need to clarify.
Like, clarify that real quick. I didn't like, I was like, oh, maybe saying like I brought her in Corruptor wasn't the best call.
No. Yeah.
I
Like
didn't
she didn't
do
do
anything. Opportunities. It
Yeah.
was like, do you want to do this? But I never forced her to do anything. And like, if she said no, like I left it alone. Like I
I mean, she was like, oh, you don't have to do it unless you're a pussy.
Kate. That
Okay,
sounds like young
okay.
Kate though.
I didn't do it like with anything like bad. Like I never once. I remember I had a joint and I was like, Payson, you want some? You want to smoke? You want to get high? And she was like, no. And I was like, okay. Like I
More
leave
for me.
more. Yeah, I think that was literally what came out of my mouth. But like, point is, the important things I don't push on. I don't want people being like, God,
Yeah.
you're an asshole.
Caitlin
Like,
never forced me to do drugs, but she did force me to do a lot of life risking activities like jumping out of a plane or doing the big jump at pace or multi pitching, you know, all of which I'm very grateful for. It's like, what did we call it? No, there was something that we used to call it, Caitlin. It was like something peer pressuring. It was like positive peer
oh,
pressure.
no, it wasn't peer pressure. It was peer encouragement.
Peer encouragement. Yeah. But
You
no,
did
I
things
really
that deep
think
down you
about-
really wanted to do. She just like took you
I
out
know
of
I
your
totally
comfort
did.
zone.
But like sometimes you just, yeah, you need like a little push, but I totally think
Yeah.
about it. Like my 18-year-old brain versus now was totally fearless. And like now I'm like, I have like nothing to prove. Like I wouldn't do, I mean, I don't know, I still have fun, but like I wouldn't necessarily, like I don't need to go skydiving again. Like I tested it, I lived, I had fun, like I'm good. But like when we were younger, I don't know, I think we truly, like it was just that we are not fully developed and we are absolute shitheads. And
Yeah, your prefrontal cortex was definitely
like
Definitely.
non-existent.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. Like I have a partner, I have my dog.
Yeah.
Like now, believe it or
Things
not,
change.
my bedtime alarm, it's set for 10 p.m.
Oh yeah.
versus like Payson met me and I was like, we don't need to sleep. Fuck it. We'll go for 4 days straight. Like
She was like, hey, what are you doing? And I didn't respond the next morning because it was like 2 a.m. I was asleep. And she was like, oh, just wanted to see if you wanted to go to Galveston.
At 2 a.m.
And I was just like, oh, sorry, my curfew is 10:30.
I do have to say that I think like the trips where I've had the most fun, memorable experiences have been with Caitlin.
For sure.
Yeah, I think you do
I'm a
need to
good
have
time.
someone like that
yeah, you are.
in your crew.
Everyone needs
Caitlin.
somebody that makes them
Get out of
the-
their comfort
out of their
zone.
comfort zone. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think part of it too is just I'm really good at diffusing like bad situations. Like when just shit hits the fan, like I'm just like, well, it could have been worse. Like I can like very quickly make a joke out of it. And I think that's where it's nice. Cause I remember like when we went on our winter road trip, there was that one night where we all slept in our tents and the wind was so bad. Nobody slept. We were all kind of crotchety.
Wasn't that day one
It was close to it. And I was
that
like,
Katie broke her like 10th day one?
yeah. And I was like, well, at least we only broke one tent. And like it was breezy, so you couldn't smell my farts or like something like that. And it just like lightened the mood.
Yeah, it was a fun trip. We have to do something like that again.
Come to Tucson, baby.
Yeah, definitely.
We got a spare room that will also be a climbing workout space eventually.
We'll be sleeping and then sounds like puffing and puffing. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
Hey,
Straight.
sorry.
And I was
It's
like,
3
"You're
a.m.
fine."
I couldn't sleep. You guys want to climb?
Knock, knock. Wake up. All right. So we covered as much as we could have. Bottom line, waivers, orientations, all these terms. Find yourself a peer encouraging person and have fun. And this was our last episode of this mini series. For now, at least, we have to deliberate some things, but we hope you enjoyed. And thank you for joining us all these days. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.